Good morning, and welcome to your Grammar 1 lecture, the beginning of your grammar cycle. So, the Grammar 1 lecture includes your nouns, verbals, pronouns, and articles, even capitalization. So, this tends to get real boring because the problem is they're very easy for people, and this is very elementary level. So, why are you teaching it, even though it's easy? Well, even though it's easy, most people still forget the importance of capitalization, and so as your articles. So even though they could be easily remembered and understood, there are some instances in which we want to make them appear in a more accurate level. That's the reason why we have to highlight these tiny parts of your grammar. So as you see, your nouns, verbals, and pronouns share what we call same distinct characteristic, and they are the subject of your sentence. So when it comes to a sentence, any sentence must contain a subject. And if we're not going to make those subjects accurate, then definitely the sentence itself would crumble. So you have to really make this grammatical structure when it comes to subject work more accurately at your disposal. So, nouns. The words below the word nouns, James, apple, beach, Mexico, pencil, car, and penguin, are all nouns. So what are nouns anyway? Well, nouns are names of people, places, objects, or ideas. So in this sentence, Spike had fun teasing Ray. This sentence itself has three nouns. Spike and Ray are the names of people, whereas fun is an idea. That is why Spike had fun teasing Ray is an example of a sentence that has multiple nouns. But that doesn't mean it is a multiple clause because it only has multiple nouns. So I just want to get you the idea of what we're going to do now. So types of nouns, you have the common nouns. Common nouns are general names for people, places, objects, actions, events, or even ideas. So when you say common noun, generic names for medical professionals, generic. Okay, that's the word that you have to understand. So, common nouns include the word mother, child, student. For people, for places, you have your city, country, restaurant. For objects, water, table, computer are all names of objects, and ideas, love, respect, and pride are part of the common noun bracket. Now, common nouns, the important thing to remember is that common nouns are general names. Thus, they are not capitalized unless they begin a sentence or are part of a title. So, you do not capitalize your common nouns unless, again, I'm going to highlight this, unless they begin a sentence or if it is a part of a title, particularly those titles with open and close parentheses. So, that is the usage of your proper nouns and how capitalization works in your disposal. Now, the use of common nouns, love in a time of cholera. As you can see, cholera is a generic noun, general noun. Time is also a general noun. But what about love? Why is love capitalized here? Again, even though love is a common noun, it begins a title, hence it must be capitalized. But if you can notice, the word in and the word the, we do not capitalize them because they are not nouns. So you see the thing that we do here? They are not noun, part of a title. In is a preposition, the is an article, so they will not be capitalized. Beginning of a sentence, apples are healthy. Apples, that is a name of a fruit, not necessarily proper. It's just a common noun. So you do not capitalize apple, but in this case, since it begins the sentence, then letter A must be capitalized. So we are going to identify the common nouns in this sentence. The captain told his crew to raise a sail. So you have three. You have your captain, you have your crew, you have your sail. Sail is actually what you call the white thing that when the wind blows, it will push the boat or the ship. She bought a new car. Car is your common noun, not she, because she is a pronoun. All right. Do you have an extra pen? So pen. You should read this book. So book. The band played until 3 in the morning. So you have your band. Three and morning are also nouns, but they will not be categorized as common. I'm happy to see you. So happy. I'll meet you at the park. Park. A dog is a man's best friend. Dog, man, and friend. Sir, why not best friend? Because best is adjective. And when you combine best and friend, it will create what we call an adjective noun combination. So it's not, we will not be including the best here. So what about proper nouns? Now, you will be understanding common nouns a lot better once you understand the concept of proper nouns. So what are proper nouns? Proper nouns are specific name of a person, place, object, action, event, or idea. So if people, we call general terms like nurse, doctor, mother, teacher, child, but we do not necessarily call them in their proper noun. So when you say proper noun, that's their given name. So name of, let's say, fictional character, you have your Harry Potter, the ex-president of the United States, Barack Obama, and then you have an athlete here, Kobe Bryant. Places, China, Mall of Asia, East Avenue. Objects, Swatch, Mongol, Cadbury. They are products. Titles, Lord of the Rings, The Avengers, Pride and Prejudice. But what about events? Do we have any proper nouns for events? Yes, if we call them in their holiday forms like Halloween, Christmas, and Valentine's. Valentine's, which is a non-existent holiday created by corporate capitalists. I'm kidding. All right, so proper nouns, you capitalize them wherever you place them in a sentence. That is a rule. So for more of such products, company names that must be capitalized, you have to look at this, all right? And then always begin your proper noun with a capital letter. And I just want to highlight this before we proceed any further when it comes to proper nouns. Academic people, you have to be careful because most of your pie chart, bar graph, line graph, and table may contain nouns. So, for example, the word basketball, the word football, a measurement of different types of media, TV, radio, internet, and the newspaper. They are capitalized in your table, but you shouldn't capitalize them in your report because they are not proper nouns. They're just capital letter because they are part of the presentation. So you have to be careful on that. Now, when it comes to the type of nouns, you have your countable nouns, words that can be physically counted, and they can take both singular and plural form. Now, concrete nouns is part of the countable noun bracket, and it's a name for something that you can physically see, touch, taste, hear, or smell. There are a dozen flowers in the vase. Now, can I count flower? Yes. That's the reason why I have a dozen here. So what about if it's just one flower? Then say so. One flower. So it could be one, it could be many. So concrete nouns can have plural and singular forms. Now, we also have the collective nouns, which is very tricky, if you ask me, because collective nouns are named for groups of people or things. So when you did this in your elementary days, like grade 1, grade 2, something, our teachers asked us to name the groups of, let's say, group of cows, herd, group of lion, pride, group of singers, choir, group of galaxy, a group of stars, galaxy, group of students, class, group of books, library. So we have exercised this many times over, but the main problem is whether you should take them plurally or singularly. Now, the main thing here is when it comes to collective noun, it must be singular by default. But if you are pertaining to the differences between interaction between the members, let's say Senate, you can say the Senate is or the Senate has. But when you say the Senate are, that means there's an interaction. So there's a difference between the Senate has imposed its decision to prevent the passing of the law. But when you say the Senate are debating amongst themselves, so there's an interaction, that's why you are going to use are. So it's not always singular by default. It has something to do with the situation. Now we shall proceed with your non-count nouns. So words that can take on a singular form. So we have the abstract noun first. Abstract noun are nouns which do not have physical existence. We cannot see, hear, smell, feel, or taste them. The price of freedom is constant vigilance. So you know words such as pride, love, respect, attention, those are from the abstract noun realm, so you don't use them with their plural form because they don't exist. Now, there are also some concrete nouns which you cannot count. When you understand them in their undivided sense, it means you're taking them collectively. The price of oil, so oil, sugar, coffee, anything that is in powder or liquid form, you are going to consider them as non-countable nouns because precisely they create a singular impact in a sentence level. So names of substances such as materials, liquids, gases, and many others. So you have your leather, you have your silver, metal, paper. Sir, why am I seeing the word metals or the word papers? So when it comes to collective nouns, kasi they are also non-count, they're also collective. So let me give you an example. Army. So the Philippine Army, even though it has a lot of soldiers, I just going to refer to this as Army because this is the one thing, this is the one particular group of soldiers, of people. But when you say armies, I'm pertaining to multiple government armies. Let's say the army of China, the army of US, and the army of the Philippines will have a joint exercise. So that's when I refer to them as armies now. So, what about water? So, undisputed water. So, ibig sabihin nun, they are not in the undivided sense. We're talking about the separation between the oceans and the likes. What about wood, sir? Can I say woods? When you pertain to wood as a piece of kahoy, that's just one piece of kahoy. Okay, that's wood. Pero sir, paano kung gusto kong sabihin that, let's say, I'm camping with my friends and then we have to fetch some woods? Diba? You can't do that because wood, pag dilagyan mo na siya ng S, magiging na siyang kakahuyan and you can pick up the entire forest. So what are you going to do with the word wood now? So lalagyan mo siya ngayon ng quantifier. So, pieces, several pieces of wood. So, pag nagkaroon na siya ng tinatawag nating vessel, doon na siya magkakaroon ng plural form. Yan. So, ito pa yung mga example. If you go to your kitchen, you will see a lot of uncountable nouns. So, you have your liquid substances, you have your powdered form, and gases, and such. So, alright, activities and sports, they are also considered singular. Running, gardening, swimming, football, shopping, tennis, and badminton. Names of subjects, non-plural with S. Again, they have S in the end, but they're still singular. We also have a lot of words in the English language with S, even though they are singular. For example, civics, ito yon, missiles, mumps, yan. But we also have subjects which are non-plural without S. These are singular by default. So, what about languages? Spanish, Greek, Russian, German, English, and Tagalog, they must be capital letter, and they are also singular form. Abstract nouns such as love, hate, intelligence, poverty, hope, advice, hunger, knowledge, together with help, trouble, information, and beauty, are all abstract nouns that must be taken in its singular form. What about collective nouns such as furniture, equipment, accommodation, luggage, fruit, wildlife, machinery, and traffic? You don't say fruits, okay? You also don't say fish. You also don't say fishes, you only say fish. Sir, what about if I'm pertaining to multiple species of fish? That's a time that you only use fish with an ES. But that is not always the case. So data, information, fruit, fish, furniture, you don't put S in them at all. Even food, okay? So food is very common error that people use. Junk foods, so it should be junk food lang. Capitalization rules use capital letters in the following ways. Proper nouns. Gloria wanted to try a new restaurant, so Richard took her to Tito's Taco Palace, where the best Mexican chili is served. Now, let us analyze how this sentence used the proper capitalization rules. So number one, the word G for Gloria. Gloria is the beginning of the sentence, and so Gloria is also the name of a person. So as Richard, that's why R for Richard is capitalized. What about Tito's Taco Palace? Tito's Taco Palace is the name of a restaurant, and Mexican chili is the name of a dish. So that is the reason why you capitalize this. Sir, so when you say dish, it must be capitalized. So what about pizza? Should I capitalize pizza? No, you should not, because pizza is a general term because we have different flavors of pizza. Okay, what about, sir, when I say Hawaiian pizza? Again, Mexican chili, Hawaiian pizza, Algerian Peninsula. So you are going to capitalize them because they are preceded by Spanish, American, Algerian, Mexican, Hawaiian. Okay. Now, the first word of a sentence, when it tells a joke, it sometimes forgets the punchline. The party last night was a big success. The pronoun I. GT Pips, listen up very carefully. Even until today, I'm seeing some people who are not capitalizing the pronoun I. This is a great grammatical liability and would definitely cause you marks off of your points in grammar. So you have to make sure that all the I pronouns in your letter would be capitalized, please. Okay. Now, family relationships when used as proper names. So, Aunt Abigail. Look at this. I sent a thank you note to Aunt Abigail but not to my other aunt. So, sir, ibig sabihin ba nito? Bias yung speaker, bias yung writer? No. It means that Aunt Abigail is a proper name because it's a relationship. That's something that you use to address the person. But when you say other aunts, that will become a common noun. Here's a present I bought to my mother. So when you say my mother, that is what I call my mom. So mom, dad, daddy, mother would be capitalized. But when you are going to use them that a mother's role. So I'm not pertaining this a mother, nauna yung A, capital A, and then M, maliit. A mother's role to a child is to nurture and guide. Oh, for example, so hindi mo ngayon kakapitalize yung M because you're not pertaining to that mother as a family relationship. Gets? Okay, hopefully yes. Now, the names of gods, specific deities, religious figures, and holy books. God the Father, the Bible, the Greek gods, and Buddha. So, however, this is my suggestion. You do not use any of these words in your essay writing task 2 because we don't want to sound politically and religiously biased. So, no to these words. Okay? Now, we have your titles preceding names but not titles that follow names. She worked as the assistant to Mayor Hanilovi. So, Mayor Hanilovi is the proper name of a person. So, this is the title, Mayor. And Hanilovi, title, and then the last name, you should capitalize it. What about Dr. Wyatt called on the staff nurse? Sir, talagang ganun ba? Bias sila pagka doktor, capital, pagka nurse. Hindi. No, it doesn't work that way. No, if you're going to reverse the situation here, yung nurse ngayon ang lalagay natin with the name. For example, the doctor. So the D for the doctor will not be capitalized now. The doctor called on Nurse Joy. So yung N and J for Nurse Joy, then ika-capital letter mo yun. So pag yung palang title, like Coach Ross, Dr. Wyatt, Nurse Joy, Officer Jenny. Yan. So, yan, puro na tayo sa Pokemon, ano? So, we should capitalize them. The days of the week, the months of the year, and holidays. Christmas, Halloween, April, May, June, July. Even the days, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, must be capitalized. Be careful! Especially for both your Task 1, GT Academic. Task 1 for Academic might feature some line graph with days. For GT naman, gagamit kayo ng mga dates to recall some events kung saan magbibigay ka ng complaint. So, kailangan naka-capital letter po yung mga yan. Seasons are capitalized when used in a title. Again, only when used in a title. The fall 1999 semester, spring break 2000. Members of national, political, racial, social, civic, and athletic groups such as Green Bay Packers, African Americans, anti-Semitic, and the Democrats. Now, the names of countries, nationalities, and specific languages. China, Chinese, Mandarin, Philippines, Filipino, Tagalog, America, American, and English. Now, salutation in letters, dear sir or madam, sincerely yours. So you capitalize the D, S, and O for dear sir or madam. Don't forget the freaking comma. And sincerely yours as well. Do not forget that comma. Spelling of sincerely, most people don't get them right. GT pips, so please be aware of that situation. So, the first word in a sentence that is a direct quote. He commanded, comma, quote. Fetch me some water, unquote. So you don't actually do this on your writing. Even in task 1 and 2, I just teach this for the sake of teaching. But you will not be using this anyhow. So I just want to remind you that if ever in another usage, gagamitin mo to sa ibang paraan, this is how you should do it. Next up, periods and events, Victorian era, Great Depression, Constitutional Convention. All of them must be capitalized. What about the major words and titles of the books? One of Jerry's favorite books is The Catcher in the Rye. Again, catcher, that's the C. Rye, that is the name. Tapos yung in the, they are not nouns, so definitely you will not be including them. The Avengers, Upside Down, so that's a name. So, alright. Next up, trademarks. So these are some of the trademarks of different products. You must capitalize them. Sir, question. Um, I'm looking at this, for example, Facebook. The capitalization here in the logo itself isn't capital F. So when I convert it in my own writing composition, should I capitalize it? Only the F. So look at Avon. Avon, big letters A, V, O, and N. But when you are going to write it in your composition, then that's a time that you only write A as a capital letter. V, O, N would not be capitalized anymore. Same as with Gap, IKEA, IBM, Visa, alright, and the likes. Directions that are names. Southwest. So yung north, east, west, south, and your secondary directions, you only capitalize them when they are sections of a country, sections of the globe. Okay? So, Western Europe. So, capital W, capital E. South of the Philippines, capital S. Eastern border, that's capital S. Capital E, rather. Words and abbreviations of specific names. Freudian, NBC, UN, HBO, HD. So since this is abbreviated, HBO, HD must all be capitalized. Next up, you have your titles that follows name. I was able to interview Miriam Moss, Mayor of Lyttonville. So if you want to capitalize the word M for mayor, you should write, I was able to interview Mayor Miriam Moss of Lyttonville. That will be even better, okay, if you ask me. Seasons alone, winter, spring, summer, fall, without titles and dates, you do not capitalize them. Short prepositions or the articles the, a, or an, if they are not the first word of the title. Harry Potter and the Order of the Phoenix, you will not be capitalizing the, and of in this case. What about compass directions? If you're just pertaining to directions of a person's house or in a city or in a country, or rather city or a province, not capital. But if it is a section of a country, much more massive compared to the scale, then you have to capitalize the direction. Century numbers, you do not capitalize them. So now is your exercise when you are going to hunt for words that need to be capitalized. So I'm going to ask you to pause this, and then I want you to write down the words that you should capitalize. Okay, now I'm going to present you the answer, okay, for your capitalization exercise. So I want you guys to take a photo, screenshot of this video on this part, because I want you to tell yourself whether you have accomplished all of those correct words, all of those correct answers, which of course you should by now. Again, this is capitalization we're talking about. Capitalization, the easiest part of grammar. Verbals is the next topic that I'm going to cover. Verbals are words that look like verbs but do not function as one. Gerunds are words that end in ing. They are used as nouns. When used after a pronoun, the pronoun takes a possessive form. Do you enjoy traveling? They do not appreciate my singing. They gave rehearsing all of their free time versus rehearsing students were not allowed to say at their dormitories. What about a pronoun? A pronoun is a word that stands for a noun or for words that take the place of a noun. The main thing that you should be worried about gerunds is that when you're pertaining to multiple tasks, for example, traveling to 5 different cities is or are. That's when most people get this wrong, because your main subject is traveling and not 5 different cities. Therefore, gerund is your main subject. Your verb must be is. Traveling to 5 different cities is. Washing clothes is or are. Again, same concept applies. You have your washing as your gerund, as your main subject, and then clothes as your subject counterpart. But still, your main subject is washing, so you are not going to rather you are not going to use the plural form of the verb. So washing clothes is difficult for me, is something I don't like to do, for example. What about infinitives? Infinitives have the same thing. All right, they share the same particular idea. They are also used as nouns, but instead of ending with ing, it is actually a to plus the base form of the verb, to run. So kung kanina gardening, to garden. Kung running, magiging to run. Yan. Sarap yan na to run sa may NUST. Hi, okay, so this will be expensive to repair. Versus should take this to the repair shop. A noun is the name of a person, place, thing, or idea. So note, never ever separate to from the verb as it will result in a split infinitive. Wrong. The marketing team voted to, before they launched the new software, run an anticipatory ad campaign. That is what we call a disruptive infinitive. So it should be the marketing team voted to run an anticipatory ad campaign before they launched the new software. That is a lot better. Now, I want you to do some exercises. Okay? So do you like anong gerund form ng cook? Cooking. Anong gerund for infinitive form ng cook? To cook. Okay, it's simple, di ba? Ang gerund ends with ing. Ang infinitive, it's to plus the base form of the verb without es, without en, without ed, without anything. It's just the simple form, the plain, the basic form of the verb without adding anything to it. So, I want you to pause this video now and to try to answer as much as you can. Number 2, she's impossible. What's the infinitive form of beat? It's to beat. Yan. So all the answers will be posted. So pronouns tayo. Let's jump into pronouns. Are noun substitutes. The main reason why I am very critical in telling you that you should not use the pronouns at the beginning of new paragraphs is because essentially, pronouns are replacements. So wala ka bang pinapalitan? Meron ka na agad pamalit. Masama yun, di ba? So dapat, noun muna, bago pronoun. Okay. So we have different types of pronoun. We have the first, second, and third person. We have the singular and plural. So pag sabing first person, one person. Ganun lang kasimple. So I, me, mine. So pag plural, kasama ka. Ibig sabihin. So we, us, ours. Pag second person, siya. So hindi ikaw, kundi other person. Singular, you, yours. Kapag naman ito ay plural, you, yours pa din. Pag third person, ang ibig sabihin nun, ikaw, yung kausap mo, hindi kayo kasali kung hindi yung third party. Masama yung third party, ha, sinasabi ko sa inyo. Okay, so he, she, him, his, her, it, and its. So yung he, she, para yan sa may mga gender. His, him, her. Yung it, its para sa mga neutered nouns. Yung mga chair, wala namang kasarian yung chair. Yung rock, yung car, yan. Tapos them, they, and theirs para naman sa plural form. Next up, cases of pronouns. So indicates the relationship of pronoun to other words in a sentence. So we have the different cases. We have the nominative case, we have the objective case, and we have the possessive case. Nominative, nasa harapan. Objective, nasa hulihan. Napakasimple. So hindi mo pala pwedeng sabihin na you and me sa umpisa. Dahil ang me, dun siya dapat sa huli. Nasa predicative part siya. So dapat you and I must fix the problem. Pero pag sinabi mong, this problem must be solved by you and me. O kasi yung me pang huli, yung I pang umpisa. Okay. Possessive, para sa pagmamayari. So my, mine, your, yours, his or hers, it's our, ours, their, and theirs. Okay. I just want you to take a screenshot here, but meron naman kayong handout na to, so you don't have to bother yourself copying the words already because ando naman din yun sa handout. And you can actually repeat this video over and over again if you want to. Now, so, what about relative pronouns? When a sentence is embedded inside another sentence, to function as a relative clause, a relative pronoun replaces the repeated noun in order to make the new sentence grammatically accurate, grammatically much more acceptable. So if you guys remember your previous lecture, that was Grammar 7, we studied your grammatical construction for your sentence, and so as your relative pronouns, yung that, who, and which. See, who, whom, whose, and that, we use that for people. Only which and that are used for things. Now, relative pronouns, Shaquille O'Neal, who, as all the moves, could not be stopped. The tools, which he bought yesterday, were specced with rust. So if this is a defining relative clause, you can drop the relative pronoun. Like, Shaquille O'Neal has all the moves, could not be stopped. The tools he bought yesterday were specced with rust. So if you can drop the relative pronoun, if you cannot drop the relative pronoun, it's up to you completely. Regarded that it is a what we call a relative, defining relative clause. So, interrogative pronouns, patanong, napakasimple, use this for questioning. So, you can do this by inversing the sentence structure. So, here are the words which you can use for your interrogative pronouns. Naturally, you would not be asking anything about the examiner naman eh. So, wala kang itatanong sa kanya sa writing. No questions are allowed there. In speaking, you're not supposed to ask questions back as well. So, walang gamit ito sa IELTS. Now, who was the speaker? Person dapat ang sagot, he or she. What was he carrying? It should be an object, so it. Which of the speech coaches was invited? So we're asking about a person because speech coaches. Which of the chairs? Diba? So, doon naman siya magiging thing. So, which is very malleable if you ask me. Demonstrative pronouns this, these, that, and those indicate nearness to distance from the speaker. So see, this means isa, malapit, that, isa, malayo. These, with the mas mahabang E sound, marami, malapit. Those, marami, malayo. This is my and those are my. Avel would climb trees at night. This disturbed my mother. Of course, Avel. Why would you climb trees at night? Come on. So, indefinite pronouns, the antecedents of indefinite pronouns are usually vague. These are such words as each, all, either, anyone, somebody, everyone, many, several. Some indefinite pronouns form the possessive case in the same manner as nouns, anyone, somebody else's, and the likes. So, use of generic pronoun he as offensive and limiting. Again, in the past, we were taught that if you want to replace a noun which you don't know the gender, for example, fireman, naturally, fireman is a person, it's a male person. But we don't do that kasi ang tawag natin yan is gender offensive. So for example, fireman, paano naman yung mga babae, di ba? Kaya we have a new set of terminologies now. So fireman became firefighter. Yung chairman became chairperson. Yung congressman became representative. Okay? So, you get the idea. Diba? Foreman, naging supervisor. Manpower, naging human resource. Kaya, bawal din sabihin na mankind ha, sa essay. It should be humanity, society, the people. Yan. Okay. So, hindi na natin siya pinapalitan ng he or she. Kasi before, he/she, like the person must be accurate so that he/she or he or she, mali yun kasi maging repetitive siya and silly. So anong gagawin ko? Pluralize, di ba? People. So that they. Kasi pag they, wala na akong pamimilian na eh. Hindi na gender offensive yun. So, ito yung example. The writer must consider his reader's concern. So, writers must consider their reader's concern. Sir, paano kung gusto ko lang talaga isa? The writer must consider, let's say his reader's concerns. Napakasimple. Okay. Writers must consider readers' apostrophe concerns. So this is just one sample of this particular situation. Next up, depends on the use of we or us in the sentence. Una, tanongin mo yung sarili mo, may tayo ba? May kayo ba? Kung meron, pwede mong gamitin ng we or us. But you have to use it properly. We, sa umpisa. Us, sa huli. Napakasimple. You and I versus you and me. When two pronouns function as subjects, they take the nominative case form. So when two pronouns function as objects, they take the objective case form. You and I must solve this issue. This issue must be solved by you and me. Sana all may sinasolve na issue. Okay, so you and I both know we love each other. Ingit na naman yung iba dyan. Alright, I don't want this to become an issue between you and, dahil sa'yo nasa huli, me. Okay. Be careful din ha, kasi sa mga speaking test, minsan kailangan yung mag-reference ng ganyan. So for example, Kevin, when was the last time you spent time with your family? Well, last time I spent with my family and I, me and my family went to, mali yun kasi bawal mag-start ng sentence with me. Dahil si me ay panghuli lang. Okay, so do not use they when they are the antecedent is a distributive expression such as each, one, everybody, everyone. Instead, use the singular pronoun he or she. So everyone in class, whether they're Jasmine's close friend or not, is invited to attend the party. Actually, this is actually much more accurate. So gagamitin natin yung unang bullet. We do not use the he or she anymore because again, this will appear silly. This is repetitive. So si everyone, no one, nobody, pwedeng gamitin si they, provided na this is the second time nagagawa ka ng pronoun sa isang sentence. Accurate din yun. When referring to the complete sense of a preceding sentence or clause, this cannot always carry the load and so may produce an imprecise statement. Academic ang madalas gumamit natin yung mga this. So ang naging question is, ano yung this? Example, visiting dignitaries attended the program yesterday as the new IT building was blessed. This is an evidence of the university's trusts on expansion and modernization. Sir, but just by looking at this, I don't see a lot of problems. But again, there is a confusion kasi when you say this, the question is, are we referring to the program or are we referring to the building? So if you want to refer to the program, then say celebration. The celebration is an evidence of the university's trusts on expansion and modernization. Sir, what if I'm pertaining to the building? Why don't you refer it to an infrastructure instead of using this. So pag paulit-ulit na this, give, get, had, repetitive vocab grammar will be affected and compromised. That, which, or who, that is used for people, animals, or things and always begins an essential clause, which refers to animals and things. Who refers to people. The man who just drove by is my math teacher. The man that just drove by is my math teacher, both of which will be acceptable. The man, comma, who just drove by, comma, is my math teacher. That is how you use them. My math teacher's car, which I believe is worth a fortune, is color blue. So this is what we call the example of non-defining relative clause. You cannot drop the relative pronoun in this case. I've already taught you guys this on Grammar 7. For those of you who haven't attended Grammar 7, don't worry. After 6 more grammar lectures, we will be proceeding with Grammar 7 again. And that's where you will be enlightened about the use of your defining and non-defining relative clause. So, who gives information about the person or people? The actor who won famous Best Actor deserved the award. So, I'm just giving additional info that the person who won the famous Best Actor. So, if I'm not going to say who won famous Best Actor, when I said the actor deserved the award. So, whose actor am I pertaining to? So, this is a sample of defining relative clause. So, whom gives information about the person or people? Specifically, the noun referred to by the pronoun whom as a relation or an attachment to the speaker or the sentence. The actor whom we admire gave us his picture. Sir, I can't fit so many information in my head because right now you're making me dizzy already. So I have to remember who, I have to remember whom. Now, just so you know, you can actually do interchange both. Kung nalilito ka, like the actor whom, dapat ba may M? Pwede namang who eh. The actor who we admire gave us his picture. Walang problema din. Next of whose, eto si whose, kailangan mo siya talagang kabisaduhin because it pertains to possession. Star Magic is a talent center whose doors, the owner of the door we're referring to in this sentence is Star Magic. So, kailangan itong whose sa sentence na to. So, eto po yung kanilang cases, si who versus whom. If it's subjective form, singular, he. Pag ang question mo ay who, ang sagot mo ay he. Pag ang question mo ay plural, who, ang sagot mo ay they. Pag possessive naman, whose, and then his. Pag plural, ay the their. Pag object form, whom, ang sagot mo ay him. To whom shall I address this letter? I shall address this letter to him. Ayan. What about whom? You should address this letter to them when it's plural. Yun yung answers natin. Okay, contractions, confusions. Whose or who is? Tandaan ha, 9 pips. It is so much better not to contract the words. Kasi kung titingnan mo itong who is, na may apostrophe, mabibilang to only as one word. So with that, I want you guys to use the who is, not whose. At kapag ganon, hindi ka malilito. Who is the author? Hindi mo siya magiging whose pen is this? That's who is pen? Diba? So magiging grammatically incorrect yan. So who is that walking down the street? Whose coat is this? I don't care. Whose paper is it? It's brilliant. Kanino? Parang ganyan. Now, you are, at saka yours. That man was looking at your bag a while ago. So, possession niya yung bag. It's her possession. So, you are the owner of that Prada bag I adore. Is this bag yours? Okay, so you have to know the differences, ha? Bigyan ko ng example. Dito naman sa it's okay, it is too late now to go to the lecture. The committee will report its findings next week. So yung it's pagmamayari, the dog and its tail, walang apostrophe dahil yung tail ay pagmamayari ng dog. Next, there, they are, and there, they are positive that their groceries, they possess that. We're over there. There is ayon. Okay, so there. Magkakatunog ha. They're positive that their groceries are over there. So, there's no such difference in the pronunciation part. So, you have to be careful on this, okay? So choose the correct pronoun to complete the following sentences. So, number 1, okay, check tayo ha. Pwede nyong i-pause. Pakisagutan po natin ito ng maayos. Pause muna. Next, question 6 to 10. Pause. Number 9, no, I want to talk about we. Come on. I want to talk about us. Okay. Answers po, number 1 to 5. Take a screenshot. I'll give you 5 seconds. Next 6 to 10, I'll give you 5 seconds. So number 10, bakit siya these, not this? Kasi are eh. These are articles. We have two types. We have the indefinite, we have the definite. Indefinite, a and an. Definite, the. So, a is used before singular noun and adjectives beginning with a consonant or sounding like consonants, not a specific object, one of a number of the same object. Example, she has a dog. I work in a factory. So it's not a very important thing. And is used before singular nouns and adjectives beginning with the vowel or vowel sounding nouns. For example, the word honor, hour, and herb, you would still be using your an article because there's a silent H. Particularly sa mga acronym like I am an RN, I am an LPT, I am an RMT. Yan. Pero kapag pinonounce mo na yung R, like registered nurse, licensed practicing teacher. So, A na, magiging A na siya. Yan. Other uses of your A and an indicates membership in a profession, nation, or religion. Jeffrey's an accountant. I'm an Irish woman. And she is a Protestant. The, eto, mas importante si the ha, can be used before singular or plural nouns, beginning with a consonant, vowel, or consonant, vowel sounding noun. So you can use it in almost any situation. A specific object that both the person speaking and the listener know. That is the reason why when you pertain to a particular word that you believe the examiner already know, since it's only one in the entire world. For example, the ozone layer, the Pacific Ocean, the moon, the planet, the Himalayas mountain. So, just one in the entire planet, the internet, the society, the government. So you have to use your the. Ito yung mga samples natin sa baba. You can take a screenshot if you want. Non-count nouns with the limiting modifiers or phrases. The coffee in my cup is too hot to drink. The Japanese he speaks is often heard in the countryside. So all those non-count nouns, coffee, Japanese, countryside, with a limiting modifier, for example, heard, too hot, so nagbibigay ka ng modifier or phrase, you're going to add the. What about something unique? The White House, the theory of relativity. Yan. Mga titles, okay? Mga theories. Geographical uses. Names of rivers, oceans, and seas. The Nile, the Pacific, the Western Philippine Sea or the West Philippine Sea. Points on the globe, the equator, the North Pole. Geographical areas, the Middle East, the West. Geographical uses. For deserts, forests, gulfs, and peninsulas, the Sahara, the Persian Gulf, the Black Forest, the Iberian Peninsula requires the usage of the. The Netherlands and the US, group of lakes such as the Great Lakes. Mountain ranges such as the Himalayas, island chains such as the Canary Islands, archipelagos like the Philippines, the Middle East, the UK, the USA. Yan. But you omit articles if you're just only pertaining to names of languages and nationalities, like Chinese, English, Spanish, French, etc. Names of sports, volleyball, hockey, baseball, basketball, you do not add an article in front. Names of subjects, mathematics, biology, history, computer science, and many others, you do not add articles in front of them. Countable versus non-countable. A and an are used if the noun can be counted. I ran into a post. How many posts did you run to? Just one, so therefore use A. I ate a piece of cake. I saw an eagle. The is used when the noun cannot be counted. I ran into the water. How many waters did you run to? So you cannot count it. The question doesn't make any sense because water is not countable, therefore use the. I ate the rice. I saw the milk spill. I saw the oil spill. Yan. What about articles? The first time you speak of something, use a or an. The next time you repeat that object, use the. I live in a house. The house is quite old and has 4 bedrooms. I ate in a Chinese restaurant. The restaurant was very good. See? Pag nauna mong binanggit, A. Pag pinanggit mo siya ulit, the. Do not use an article with countries, states, counties and provinces, lakes and mountains alone, except when the country is a collection of states such as the United States. You don't say the China. You don't say the Iran. You don't say the Qatar. You only say Iran, Qatar, China. He lives in Washington near Mount Rainier. They live in northern British Columbia. And that is the end of your Grammar 1 lecture. I hope you guys had fun as much as I did. I'm also going to upload some exercises later today if you're kung medyo nabitin pa kayo sa mga exercises natin kanina. Have a nice day. Good luck and God bless. Bye!